Alrighty. So your week one attendance. At this point, it is before, my nose itches, the start of the semester. And I'm releasing this course early as I have set up in the start here. And the reason I do that is exactly this, to give students a chance to kind of just take a look at the course and get started. So this is actually the beginning of your first week of this official semester in the fall 2021 at Fresno City College. So what I just finished doing just before I do this video is I walked through and I created all the assignments you're about to watch. So a couple things I want you to know is sometimes I leave the mistakes. And I don't know if they're mistakes. It's just that with so many different systems that we use, meaning the average or even above average web users, that the interfaces that I use, GitHub, Canvas, I could go on, right? Sometimes I forget where something's at and I leave those in there. So, and I noticed I really did this on the last item, which is the hello world. So this video is kind of intended to give you like the overview of the week, give you what heads up. And so I get to give you a heads up about my own content because the truth is I do all of it. I record it, I produce it, I upload it, I embed it. And many times when you're watching videos, you can often tell, and I bet you can tell this, the more YouTube you watch, the more you can tell this is how well produced something is, right? So I have my system set up. I've been kind of evolving it over the years. I'm trying to look right in the camera and the lens, but I notice sometimes I look down and it's like it doesn't have to be perfect. Would I like to be perfect? Sure, I would. So, but I don't know why. Why do I tell you that? I just tell you that because I'm proud of the work that I do, but I also know I want to always make it better because my goal is for you to focus on the work and not always try to figure out, if I've wandered off. And sometimes I do. I try to make it helpful, but sometimes I do. So here's my ultimate suggestion, especially on the hands on items. You might watch it through a little bit to see if what I was doing ended up being the way I did it. You'll get used to this over time. I think it's a natural process of learning somebody's style for how they produce video. So just a heads up. And, let's just say a word about this idea of introduction to web. It used to be called Introduction to Web Technology. Now it's Introduction to Web Development. And I think it's such a great skill to understand. Mostly because, as I think I said in one of the videos already, like it gives you an insight into any time you're dealing with something on a browser or a website and learning the difference. Again, I told you we'll do this in week 2 between, right, the internet and the web, which, by the way, let me just spoiler alert, right? The internet is the network, the connections that we have that allow us to do many things, including the web, which is the most popular, the web browsing, writing markup, writing web pages. But there's a lot of other stuff now. My car, which I love, is connected at all times. As a matter of fact, I will probably show this later. I've tried out now full self-driving, and it's phenomenal to realize the advancements in technology that we are having and to think about what goes into building them. And this class would be intended to starting to give you an insight into that. Okay, so just a word about it. So let's take a look at the work this week. I'm looking at this in a student view, as I've said before at this point, because I've finished all the items, right? In order for you to get through them, I've already talked about that, but when you come in here, you'll have to do a reply here. So you have 3 items due: a lecture, a hands-on assignment, and a current topics, which I will say is pretty much a hands-on assignment as well. And I will just show you that I actually did a small version of this. And this is where I was playing around with how to upload into GitHub, which you will learn right away because you've already submitted. By this point, you've already submitted through your start here, your GitHub username. So you can't complete this item until you are in our GitHub organization. That's a really important piece to understand about that. And then, and mark actually all three of these, but specifically because of the way I set up the course and I enforce sequential moving through the items, you can't work on this one. Now, by the way, you can go ahead and watch the video if you're waiting for me to add you, which is totally fine. And there are actually 2 videos to get you through that item. So this first item of the semester is really good. A couple things. Pay attention to detail. When I say I want naming, I use a naming standard. Make sure you follow my naming standard, right? And I do this in that first about CIT82. So make sure you're doing that because there's a reason. And in web development, any kind of coding, naming standards are important. So make sure you follow them, right? Okay, so for this reply, this is often what I ask. I often will ask somewhere along the way, I will ask about this, right? So, what is something that you've experienced, maybe in your whole life, but maybe recently? Like for me, it was when I experienced a car driving itself. And I know that's a pretty high, pretty out there example. It could be other things. I'm delighted when Google finds something for me on my first search, right? I'm delighted when my phone app tracking for my workouts work well and tell me I've achieved my goals for the day. I mean, there's just so many times, but I think something you use all the time, you typically become more normalized, right? So it's normal. What's something that's kind of like amazed you that you've seen maybe lately, maybe way back, when you were like wowed by something around technology? So in your reply, you can say you can comment on any of the stuff I've done, but if you don't have anything to comment, do that. All right, so this is it. Again, at this point in the semester, it's before the start of the semester. You will probably, by the time you get through this week 1, I will have week 2 already ready for you to roll because it's a 9-week. I know I've said it before. The more you stay on task, on time, or before, the better I believe this experience will be for you. All right, have a great one, and I'll talk to you soon.